Joining me is retired U.S. Army Major General James Spider Marks, now a CNN military analyst. Thanks so much for being here. Why is the Donbass such a bridgehead, as he said?
Well, first of all, the Russians have been in the Donbass since 2014,
right,
when they annexed it along with Crimea.
And by the way, when Secretary Hagel was dealing with them back then in 2014, they said to him, we'll never have another aggressive action against the Ukrainians now that we have the Donbass. But.
Correct. And what Zelensky is talking about is the third war, was the initial invasion, which fell on its face. And then that's war number one. And war number two is what we see right now, which is really, I don't want to use the word stalemate, but that's essentially what we're seeing. There are no operational maneuvers on either side to try to dislocate the other enemy and achieve some success.
From the Donbass?
From the Donbass and along the front. Wherever it exists. The Russians have not demonstrated that capacity, nor have the Ukrainians. So the third war, in Zelensky's mind, is if we have a ceasefire, and it's agreed to, whatever the conditions are, the Russians now will be in Donbass. They can continue to build up forces and could launch from there. But they did that before. They did that 3 years ago, and that failed. If the desire is to achieve a collapse of the regime in Kyiv, whatever that looks like, you wouldn't do it from the Donbass. You'd probably relocate forces up to Belarus and drop down that way.
Have you seen any indication that Russian forces have, are they a learning enemy? Have they, obviously there's been a lot of improvements and innovations in drone warfare on both sides over the last 3 years, shockingly so, and they're probably advanced from the United States from what I've been hearing. But have you seen any indication over the last 3 years that Russia has improved their capabilities to any real extent?
They have. The short answer is yes, but at a tactical level. What you described with drone warfare, for example, is an enabler. How do you synchronize that enabler with good, solid intelligence, logistics to support operations, maneuver forces, preparatory fires, the ability to reach deep? The Russians don't have that capacity. They do not have that ability, but they've learned at a tactical level how to take advantage. Drones are one of those ways. They have a tremendous cyber capability, which can affect command and control capacity. So they are learning, but I am sanguine they have not learned that the ability to really apply force is something that is in their job jar in the near future. They've got a long way to go.
I mean, I will never forget those early, I think I was there for a month right when the war began. And, I just remember those videos of like Russian tanks just getting blown apart on these roads and getting bogged down. And it was just shocking to see, this huge military force completely be stopped by, Ukrainians defending their soil.
One word, the Russian forces are leaderless. They don't have those sergeants, those non-commissioned officers.
That makes the difference. That level, the sergeant level.
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
The reason I stayed in the Army as long as I did is I had sergeants that knew their stuff and were not hesitant about telling me what I needed to do to improve their ability to do their jobs. The Russians, there's no incentive for the Russian forces to take the initiative. There's nothing but bad news if they take the initiative. They're confident that somebody on the political side is going to come in and shoot them in the head and say,
and
you're not allowed to
something
do
like,
that.
Tens of thousands of North Korean forces, does that provide, other than bodies and ultimately corpses on a battlefield, does that provide a real advantage for Russia?
Zero. It's
just using up ammunition of the opposing. Of the
I hate
Ukrainian
to say
military.
that. It's exactly right. They pop up targets, and the Ukrainians have to use a lot of bullets to kill them. It's a transaction for the North Koreans, so they benefited. They got a bunch of money, but the North Koreans did not get that learning coming back.
The leadership of North Korea may benefit. I don't know that the natural North Koreans who are laying down on the battlefield, they haven't done so well.
North Korean leadership would, thank you, Mr. Cooper, but they would bring that capability back. Well, they're not doing that.
Right.
They're coming back in body bags, or they're rotting on
Let me see. I recently heard a talk by a military official in the U.S., and he was expressing concern about the U.S. ability in drone warfare. That I think he said that in one battle in Ukraine, the number of drones used was more than the U.S. could probably had in their arsenal, just like in one day.
Probably not a bad observation, primarily because the Ukrainians and the Russians have been in a conflict for over 36 months. Right. They have adapted to exigencies and requirements on the ground, and they've determined the real value of those drones. The United States has brought some of those lessons back,
Right.
and we're now in the business of realizing this is an enabler that we can use to our great advantage, because the United States knows how to bring a synchronization, a symphony of destruction on the battlefield.
What's happening on the ground in the war in Ukraine? I mean, is that for the near future? Is that the future of warfare? I mean, is it? I mean, I know obviously it's increasingly will be AI system against AI system, machine against machine, weaponized. But are these drones? Is that what we're seeing? Is that what we should be learning in military academies, and what warfare is going to look like for the next 10 years?
What we are learning is the application of force and boots on the ground still matter. Mm-hmm. The definition of deterrence still matters. And there are enablers across the battlefield that are working to our advantage. The drones are one of those. But our ability to reach deep with our intelligence collection capabilities, to command aerospace so that we can reach out and we can provide precise targets that we can now go after and affect, whether it's to destroy them or to isolate them or whatever it is. So absolutely, we are seeing right now, not the future of warfare, this is what's happening right now.
And when we saw, Ukraine intelligence or whoever it was from Ukraine destroying strategic bombers inside Russia with drones from a truck that they had driven in, is the U.S. vulnerable to that kind of an attack if we had a determined enemy? I mean,
yes.
The airports aren't hardened.
Sure.
You destroy the hangars where the planes are. It seems like we're very vulnerable to that sort of thing.
You are correct. What we have to be able to do is get out of our own way and let the defense industrial base create some magic and not try to overcomplicate this thing. But what we're really seeing is drones are dropping grenades. That's not a difficult technical problem to solve. Right. But we can't try to make that a solution that fits everybody, which we tend to do.
Right.
So you're absolutely correct. We are learning those lessons. And yes, in the battlefield, we would be vulnerable. We have to be able to have, in this particular case, an anti-drone capability that through electronic warfare, we can take that thing down, or
it just
we
seems
can
like
take control of it.
There was extraordinary work done with, Predator drones, and I mean that during the Afghan conflict, but now it's these small commercial drones that people are jerry-rigging and operating. It's just stunning what we're seeing. Major General James Spider Marks, appreciate it.